Today's Chumash with Rashi is Parshas Noach. We're going to learn Shvi, which is the seventh portion. We're holding Bereshis Parak Yud Aleph, Pasuk Parak Yud Aleph, or Pasuk Aleph. The Pasuk says, Vayihi Chol Haaretz Sofa Echos. At that time, the entire earth was speaking Sofa Echos, one language, Lashon Kodesh, as Rashi says, with Dvarim Achadim, and they had uniform words. We're going to see three ways how to explain what does it mean Udvarim Achadim. Rashi says, Sofa Echas, this is Lashon Kodesh. Either Lashon Kodesh. The Yerushalmi brings down that one opinion was Lashon Kodesh, one opinion was that all of them spoke all 70 languages, or Sofa Echas, as the Mefarshim say, some of them say, Shahil Libam Shava Lameitzi Piyam, that they had one language, all for one goal was to fight against Hashem. What does it mean, Dvarim Achadim? So Rashi says, what that means is, Bo be'etz achas, that they came with one scheme. And what do they say? They said, Lo yikol ha'emenu sh'yover lo yasal yenim. Hashem Kivyochel does not have the right to select the upper worlds for himself. Now let us Kivyochel ascend to Shemayim and fight Hashem. Now, everybody knows that they were not shaykh to fight Hashem, and these were very educated, people that had a lot of knowledge, and they knew all 70 languages. So what does it mean they're going to fight? So Mefarshim say that they knew they had no chance, obviously, to Hashem, but they said that let us Kivyochel be mevalvul the other people in the world, that they should forget about the Achdus Hashem. So that's one shot. Dvar Machadim means they came with Dover Echad, with one plan to fight against Hashem. Dover Acher, what does it mean? Dvar Machadim al Yechidei Shel Olam. That things which speak about the Yechida of Hashem, let's speak to rebel against them. Dover Acher, third explanation, Dvarim Achadim or Dvarim Chadim. They said Achas Alef V'Tafresh and Vav Shanim Harakia Mismeited Kishem Shasib Mehamabel. They made up a story and they said that every 1,656 years, the sky falls down, and what do we have to do? V'Nasa Lo Yisamoches, we have to make support beams for Hashem Kivyochel. Now, obviously, this was also trying to diminish how strong the Eibishter was, and they said Kivyochel Hashem needs samachot, he needs pillars, he needs beams to hold himself up, to hold the sky up. Pasuk Beis, Vayhi benasa mikedem, vayimtzu biko be'eretz shinar v'yeshvu sham. So it came to pass when they traveled from east that they found a biko, they found a valley, where in the land of Shinar, and they settled over there. Rashi says, what does it mean benasa mikedem? Shahayu yoishvim sham. They went from the east, like it says in Parak Yud, Pasuk Lamed, Vayhi meishavam har kedem. So where did they go from the east? V'nasu misham, they went from the east, lustra lehem makom, to find a place, to scout out a place for themselves. L'hachzik eskulam, to have all the nations in one place. V'matsu ella, where did they find? They found a place in the land of Shinar. Pasuk Gimel, and each one said to the other, Havanil bina levenim, let us make bricks, v'nisrfa l'sreifa, and fire them in fire. So the bricks were for them stones, and the clay was for the mortar. Rashi says, what does it mean? Ish el re'eu. What does it mean? Each man to himself. Doesn't mean each individual, but rather umma le'umma. Each nation said to the other, for example, Mitzrayim l'kush, l'kush l'put, l'put l'chnon. What does it mean? Hava. So whenever you say hava, that means hazminu atzmechem, prepare yourself. Kol hava lashon hazmana. It's a lashon of preparing. Who? Shemechinim atzmem mischabrim mechama, that they prepare themselves and they connect. They make a shutta for work, either eitz lemasa, or for counsel or for advice. Hava hazminu. Levenim ein avenim bebavel shehi bebika. They had to build bricks made out of clay. Because ein avonim the Babel. There's no rocks in Babel that they can make. They have to make bricks in Babel because there's no rocks to carve out of. You put it in a furnace. Lachomer, what does it mean? Lachomer, Rashi says, Latuach hakir, to plaster the wall. Pasuk Daled vayemru hava nivna lanu ir, and they said, let us build ourselves a city, migdol reresha b'shamayim, and a tower with its tops to the heaven. And asalanu shem, and we're going to make for ourselves a name. Penafutz apnei chol haaretz, lest we be scattered upon the face of the entire world. Rashi, penafutz shalayavi alenu shumaka lahafitzenu mikan, that Hashem should not bring upon us any plagues to scatter us from here. Pasuk Hey, Vayer Hashem liras seir v'samigdal. Hashem descended to see the city and the tower, as Hashirbanu bnei Adam, that the sons of man built. Vayer Hashem liras lehutzrachu lekach. Hashem didn't need to descend to see what's going on. Obviously, Hashem knew what was going on. So why did Hashem? What does it mean Hashem descended? Rather, he said, this teaches us a lesson for a dayan that a dayan should not give judgment against somebody until he actually comes and sees all the pratim of the din. Midrash Rabbeinu Tanchuma. Bnei Adam. Now it says, let us see the tower that the Son of Man built. Now, obviously they're Bnei Adam. Why does the Torah have to say that? So Rashi tells us a very, very important lesson. Ella b'nei mi, Shema b'nei chamerim ugmalim. Are they the sons of donkeys and camels? Ella, the Torah wants to stress, the Adam Harishan, they are like Adam Harishan. They have the same mindset. Shekafa es hateva, that he denied the good that Hashem, he was ungrateful for the good that Hashem gave him. Kafa es hateva, ve Omar, what did he say? Ha'isha shenasati madi. He says right away, the woman whom you gave to me. Af elu, so to the b'nei David haflaga, kafu b'teva, they were ungrateful and they came to Limroid b'mi shishpiam teva umiltom min hamabo. They came to rebel against the one who gave them goodness and saved them from the Mabel. Pasuk Vov, Vayemer Hashem, Hein am echad b'sofa achas t'kulam, and Hashem said that all the people in the world are one nation, and they speak one common language. And this is what they started to do, lasis to do, va'ata. And now, if they're all going to speak the same language, there won't be anything to hold them back from what to continue their work. Pasuk Vav, Rashi Hinam Echad Kol Teva Yesh Zu Yeshimayim. All the goodness they have, Am Echad, they're one nation, V'Sofa Achas, and they have one language. So they started to do this. They're doing that what they have commanded. It's like a question. Yibatzer means withholding. We find it similar, like it says, he will withhold the spirit of princes. Pasik Zayin. So what does Hashem say? Let us go down. And we're going to mess up, we're going to be mavalvel their languages, that each one is not going to understand what the other person is saying. Rashi, he took like a device with the Beis Din due to his extraordinary anava, humility. Hava, mida connected mida. Measure for measure. They said, let us build. So what Hashem say? Come, let us descend. V'navla unevalvel. Unevalvel, let us confuse. Nun mishamish b'lashon rabim. The nun is used for the prefix of the first person, the plural. V'hei yisera, achrei yisera, and the final hey is yisera kehei shel nerda, like the hey of let us descend. Lo yishmo. What does it mean? Will not understand. Zesher levena v'zeh maybe tit. This one brings bricks, and this one brings mortar. Not understanding each other's language, the one stands and cracks his skull. Hashem scattered them upon the face of the earth. And they stopped building the city. What does that mean? In this world. This that they said, let us be scattered. The sky malayim, it was fulfilled. This is what Shlomo Melech says, the dread of the wicked man, that will befall him. Tes al kein karishma Bavel. That's why he named it Bavel. Hisham Bal Hashem Sfas Chol Haaretz. Hashem confused the language of the entire world. Misham Mefitzum Hashem, and from there Hashem scattered al pnei Chol Haaretz upon the face of the land. Rashi says Misham Mefitzum Limad She'en Lahem Chelik Le'Mam Haba. It teaches us that they have no Chelik Le'Mam Haba. Chi'eza Kosher Shalder Hamambel v'Shalder Haflagas. Rashi asks, what is harsher? What sin is worse, the Der Hamambel or the Der Haflaga? Elu le pashtu yad beikar, ve'elu pashtu yad beikar lilachem bay. The people did not, in other words, the people in Bnei Noach did not stretch the Der Hamambel, did not rebel against Hashem, and these people they did rebel against Hashem. So why are they not perishing from the world? However, the people in Der Hamambel, they were gazlanim, and they fought between each other. They didn't have achdus. That's why they were destroyed. These people had a lot of love, at least, and friendship amongst themselves. As the pasuk says, one language and unifying words. The Matkah teaches us we learned that machlekes is hateful and peace is great. Yud Eila Teilu Shem, Shem ben Mea Shana. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old. The Yelad Es Ar Pachshad. He had a Pachshad Shnasayim Achar Mabel 2 years after the Mabel. Rashi says Kishalid Es Ar Pachshad Shnasayim Achar Mabel, when he had a Pachshad 2 years after the Mabel. Pasuk Yud Aleph. When Shem Achar Yelid Es Ar Pachshad Shechamesh Meis Shana V'Yelad Banu Mubanis, and Shem lived after he had a Pachshad 500 years, and he had sons and daughters. Pachshad Chai Chamesh Shlishim Shana. Pachshad lived 35 years, and he had Shalach. Pachshad lived, and he had Shelah 403 years. He had sons and daughters with Shelah Chai Shlishim Shana, and Shelach lived 30 years. And he had Aver. And Shelach, after he had Aver, 430 years he lived, and he had sons and daughters. Aver lived 34 years, and he had Peleg. And Aver lived after he had Peleg 430 years, and he had sons and daughters. Peleg lived 30 years, and he had Re'u. He lived 209 years, and he had Srug. So he lived, and he had Srug 207 years, and he had sons and daughters. And who did he have? And he lived 200 years, and he had sons and daughters. And Noach lived 29 years, and he had the famous Torach. And Noach lived after he had Terach 190 years, and he had sons and daughters. Terach lived 70 years, and he had Avram. It's Noach v'es Haran. Now, Terach. These are the generations of Terach. Terach had Avram. As Noach v'es Haran, but Haran had Heiladus late. Ayamas Haran al pnei Terach Aviv, Baris Milatei, or Kazdim, and Haran died during the lifetime of Terach, his father, in the land of his birth in Orkazdim in Orkazdim. Zogash al pnei Terach Aviv, during the lifetime of his father. Rashi says Bechai Aviv, he passed away before his father. Medrash Agada Eimer Shaydei Aviv Meis, and the Medrash says that he died on account of his father. Shekaval Terach al Avram b'nei lefnei Nimrod al Chitas Islamov. Terach complained about Avram, his son, before Nimrod for crushing his idols. So they casted Avram Avinu in the fiery furnace. So he said, if Avram is going to be victorious, then I'm on his team. If Nimrod is victorious, I will be on Nimrod's team. Now, so when Avram was saved, they said to Haran, who do you belong to? I belong to Avram. So he was casted in the fire, and he was burned, or Kazdim. And this is what it means, in the fire of Kazdim. Menachem Perish Ur Bika. Menachem explains Ur as a valley. As it says, in the crevices honor the Hashem. And so too over the hole of an old snake. Any hole or deep crevice is called or. And Avram and Noach took themselves wives. Avram took Sarai, Nachar. Who did Nachar take? His brother Milcah, girl Milcah. Bas Haran, Avi Milcah, Va'avi Yiska. The daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Yiska. Rashi says, who's Yiska? Zu Sarah, this is Sarah. Hashem Sheseicha Beruch HaKedesh, Ushakel Seichen B'Yafya. They called her Sarah because, Yiska, because she would see through, she was Seicha, she was able to see through Ruach HaKedesh. And Ushakel Seichen B'Yafya, everyone gazed at her beauty. By Yiska is an expression also denoting like a princess. Kamoi Sarah Lashon Sarah, just as Sarah is an expression of Shara of dominion. But he Sarah Akara Ein Lo Vlad, and Sarah was a barren, she had no children. Yikach Terech as Avram B'nei, Slade Ben Haran as Ben B'nei, as Sarah Kalas Yeshus Avram B'nei. V'yetzu itim or Kazam Melechas Artzugnav Yavoy Ad Charan V'yeshu Sham. Terach took Avram his son and Lot the son of Haran, his grandson, and Sarah his daughter-in-law. However, of Avram his son, they went forth with them from Orkazdim. Where did they go? They went to Eretz Yisrael and they came to Yavoy Ad Charan V'yeshu Sham. So Rashi says, "Vayitzu Terach Avram and Lot Sarai." Terach and Avram went forth with Lot and Sarah. By you made Terach Chamesh Shana Masayim Shana, and the days of Terach were 205 years. Yamas Terach B'Charan, and Terach died in Charan. Rashi says, "Vayamas Terach B'Charan." La'achar sheyatza Avram B'Charan u'bal Eretz Canaan. This happened after Avram had left Haran and came to the land of Canaan. And this was over 60 years. It says that Avram Avinu was 75 years old when he left Haran. But Terach was 75 years old when Avram was born. So it comes out that Terach was 145 years old when Avram Haran. So he still has many years left before he died. So if so, why would the Torah tell me that Terach died before Avram left? If that, so that people will not think that Avram was not being Mekayim Kivud Avim. That he left his father and he left. That's what the Torah calls mace. Why? Because the Shayim, even when they're alive, they're called Mesim. When it comes to the righteous, they're called alive even when they are dead. As it says, the Ben Yodu, the sons of Yodu, the son of a living man. The Charan, Rashi says, Hanun hafuch aleim lecha. The nun of Charan is inverted to tell us that Ad Avram Charan Avshal Makim. Until Avram appeared, the Eibishter's wrath was kindled. So Nun symbolizes the change of Hashem's anger to divine mercy.